Hello. Welcome to the Move Back with Lou Fernandez. King Lou, if you like. That's me. My name's Lou. Luis, if you know me from my childhood. King Lou, pretty much after that. Greetings and welcome to my car. I'm here in the Subaru Outback, just chilling in Brooklyn Heights as I am required to do by watching. All right. Once again, forgot to turn off the Wi-Fi. I had a little bit of a reconnection issue. So yeah, I'm here in the car, hanging out by myself, my Cisnelf. Got the usual cast of characters watching. Hey Finn, hola, as you like to say. Got Carla Ferrucci watching. Mako Seawright. Frank Wilderspin. You got the peanut galleries in the house. Whoop, raising the roof of the car. I'd stick my hands out the sunroof if I could, but there's nothing out there. What's up? Not a whole lot. Sitting in my car, Mako. How about yourself? I'm hanging out here in the car by myself. I was just in here for a little while reading the third book in the Southern Reach trilogy. There's that new movie coming out called Annihilation, starring Padme, whatever her face is. Hello, Ina, how are you? And so I've been reading the books, and they are not so great. They're okay. A little difficult to follow, but what are you going to do? But I felt compelled to buy all three. And I didn't buy them used. I should have bought them used. Still have some trouble with the logic of buying the used books on Amazon because then the publisher doesn't get any money and the author doesn't get any money. And I'm often not saving that much money. Sometimes I'm saving a lot of money. Especially when you get like one of those paperbacks that's only like 99 cents or whatever. But in this case, I did not. And so I'm reading the book. Not currently. As I mentioned earlier today, maybe not on the morning stream. For the morning stream viewers, I was completely out of it. Like asleep, basically. Could barely function. That was a rarity for me. But 3 or 4 hours of sleep was not enough this time. So I was really out of it. And what was I going to say about that? See, I'm still not 100%. But I lost my train of thought. That's how it's going to be today, and just totally out of it. But yeah, now I'm back in the car, hanging out. I was going to say that the last time I moved my car, I discovered that someone had rifled through our glove compartment. Luckily, we don't keep anything of value in there. But yeah, someone had apparently opened up our car, which had been left unlocked, strangely enough. And someone took the opportunity to test our doors and open up our glove compartment, rifle through it, leave all the shit on the ground, and then leave. So I felt somewhat violated, but also knowing that nothing was stolen, I felt okay. And Billy Heenahan is on the line. I don't know if, Billy, if you've had any luck finding parking today. Billy is a local Brooklyn Heights car driver man, former resident of my building, now resident of the neighborhood, and running enthusiast and MTA employee. I want Billy to come sit in the car so we can talk about all the MTA security things you've discovered over the years. People's ways of tricking or fooling the MTA. In our brief discussion of it previously, I was impressed at the types of skullduggery that people had gotten into as far as being more advanced than simply jumping the turnstiles. Oh, you got rid of your car? Ugh. Quitter. I don't blame you. But, there's a dog out there. It's true. We have dogs here. I mean, if you want to have a dog. In our building, we can't have dogs. The legend of why we can't have dogs in our building is because when it was a rental property, there were a number of people who did not take care of their dogs and left the dogs defecate in the hallways, in the courtyard. And then when the building went co-op, a lot of the people who bought were apartment owners or renters who really hated the managing agency and hated the landlord and hated the neglect that the building had. Once they took ownership of the building, they became very staunch rule enforcers, I guess is a good word. I was going to say havers. It's not accurate. And so one of the rules was no dogs. And I think there were some legacy dogs. Certainly every building has a legacy dog, but this we did have some legacy dogs. And now we are mostly dog free. There's one dude who has a comfort animal or whatever with a bogus certificate that he printed from some dude who sells on the internet, saying that the dog is a certified service companion, which is, pet peeve of mine. Andy D is watching. Ben Spitz from my high school is watching. It's a party here. It's an unbelievable party. Andy D hanging out. Andy D and I, we have this eternally hanging over us adult drinking date. Dad's drinking appointment that we can never seem to make happen. We've got to break this inertia, dude. We should be drinking every night of the week. Yeah, and if you listen to the Meat Fighters episode of my podcast, we could totally, you could come over, we could set the stakes and then wrestle and see what happens. I have physical therapy at 7:00, but I if you want to come over and have some drinks after that, that's cool. Yes. Anyhow, I'm up for drinking. I've talked about having people in the car for sort of a move back happy hour. There is some illegality to that concept, but I think with the amount of actual ticketing that does happen. I mean, this morning we saw the ticket vultures were out giving tickets in sub 30 degree weather. Not that they wouldn't, but I don't think that the ticketing people have the say to arrest you if you're drinking in your parked car. Not to say that you can't get 5-0 rolling up on you, telling you to pour out your 40s or whatever, but maybe cocktails in some kind of concealed carafe. I don't know if that would sort of take some of the mystery out of it. Are we really drinking? We're not really drinking. I mean, we could mix it in front of you. It's there's a lot of layers there. I don't know if we want to deal with that. Someone's always going to say it's fake, whether it's real or not. And if the police come, it's totally fake. We would never drink in a car that is turned on. But anyway, it's lovely to share this afternoon. Oh, you're going to come and sit in the car. You want to get blunted? Yeah, man. You bring the Swisher Sweets or the White Owls, man. I'll fill that up with some fat, sticky icky. You know what I'm saying? We'll hotbox this car. Yeah, man. Now that would be also a bad idea, but entertaining. But I'd think then the conversation would get super difficult. And I'm already having trouble due to my lack of sleep. But I hope everyone's 2018 is going so far so good. Everyone's remembering not to write sevens on their checks and whatnot. Who uses checks? I do. It's important. The tradition of the handwritten check is an important thing. So much more important than your Venmos. Beep, bop, boop, sending money, boop, boop, boop. I mean, yeah, it's convenient, and I do it. But I'll be like, I Venmo'd you the money, but here's also an imaginary check that I wrote on a piece of scrap paper. Just so we had this physical bond, this handwritten signature to signify that, and a real signature, not just a squiggly signing pad tablet. Although I will, my former college roommate, Ken Kornacki, was saying that he likes to, his signature is that when he signs the box, the sign box, he literally fills in the entire box as long as it takes as his signature, much to the annoyance of the people behind him, which I think is a hilarious and awful trolly thing to do. But just the idea that you would disdain the signature, which is, of course, has become sort of this like, and my sons are not learning script, so their signatures will never be like John Hancock or my own smooth and wonderful signature. Yeah, they're just going to be writing an X. Might as well, right? Because it's like, oh, sign your signature, squiggle. It's accepted. Doesn't matter. You could write Hitler. I wonder if you could write Hitler. You just print Hitler was right on your in your for your receipt on everything. People would be like, all right, I guess that's his signature. But it's pronounced Luis Fernandez, but it's spelled Hitler was right. That's my parents' fault. I didn't do that. But luckily, you wrote, Andy D is saying he wrote 2017 on his dick today. That is an embarrassing thing. I hope, do you do that every day, or is it just you knew someone was going to ask you, what year is it? You like pointed down, and then you also did like one of these, because you were like trying to razz somebody. There was a great video that someone put out on New Year's Eve of this guy who was like talking to himself in the mirror about like how he was going to take 2018. He's like, I'm going to ride that ass, bitch. Smile, bitch, 2018. And it was really like, and I loved it. And then the guy took it down. And this is a guy whose Instagram videos are, up forever and like, all about silly sex and whatever, but for some reason he pulled it down. I can't find it anywhere. Oh well. What do you do when you find some internet spelunking that you've lost? You can't find it anymore. I know that sometimes on the Something Awful forums they have an internet spelunking thing, and you can request like, where's this one thing? And then they find it right away and make you feel like an idiot for not having been able to find it. That is often how I feel. Oh, bye, Finn. Thanks for watching. I hope your son had a wonderful nap, and that he's got lots of interesting things to say. I've got another 10 minutes in the car. If anyone wants to join me via an attempted call-in, please let me know, and I'll invite you in to the call. It could be fun. It could also be awkward and not fun. But, there's only one way to find out. Oh, there we go. Got to close that. Let's see, who's still watching? Nobody. Billy and Carla. Now, Carla Ferrucci is a lady I know from Milwaukee who now lives in Minneapolis, I believe, in the Minneapolis area. An area I had never been to until last summer. but I don't think I knew that she lived there at that time. You want me to stop poking your face? I'm just commenting on who's still watching. Yeah, it's funny to still be in contact with Carla, because that was like a very brief time where everyone was all together in those early international jet set days, and then everyone sort of broke apart, went their own ways. And certainly, did I like Minneapolis? I did like Minneapolis. I was only there for 3 days, and I was over in the arts district. I went and saw part of a baseball game, and I joined the local bike share and rode around on the bike share there. Rode all around downtown. It seemed like an easy enough place to get around. It didn't take any of the public transportation, which is something I like to do when I go to a place. But I'm not a fan of buses. I do like the trains. I didn't get to try. I think it's like a light rail. But yeah, it seemed like a nice place to be. And a lot of people I met there were from Madison or other places in Wisconsin as they flee that fucked up state and go to a more progressive one, in theory. I didn't really make it to St. Paul. I kept forgetting about the Twin Cities deal, but I did make it. I did see a fair amount of Minneapolis. It seemed like a nice place. And I did like all of the river junk and the bridges and all that. Downtown was a downtown similar to most downtowns, which is just chains and other garbage. But I did see a lot of breweries, and so I had a nice encounter there. And I met a lot of nice people as part of the weird podcast event that I was there for. And I think we were at a place called Grumpy's down by the stadium. I guess there's a bunch of them. And then the second one, we went to another thing to do karaoke in some other place. I don't even know. I couldn't tell you where we were. And I stayed in an Airbnb. I stayed at a very nice couple's house. It was a delight. And I would go there again. And I hope I get invited again to go to the podcast event, because that was a lot of fun. But if I do get invited again, I will say hello. There's a couple people from Milwaukee who live up there, who were at one point in my galaxy of acquaintances and friends. And John Bittens lives up there, still playing his upright bass in some manner of rockabilly band or another. But previous to that trip, I had only gone as far north as Schwamigan for the Fat Tire 40 mountain bike race, back in the days when I was fit, overachieving, overweight cyclist. Fit and overachieving and overweight. Somehow I managed to balance all three as far as mountain biking was concerned. But yeah, that's as far as I know. I never actually went to Minneapolis when I lived there. Although people would go on like road trips there. It's like a really fucking long drive to go for a weekend to Minneapolis. But I know that Vilwalk did it. Anyway, is anything? What do you like about Minneapolis, Carla? I'd like to know, because you clearly live there. Or maybe you don't like it. You got some big colleges there. You got your giant footballs and your baseballs, and you got your basketballs. You got the three big sports. You're up there by Canada. And what else could you want? The city's easy. The city was easy to get around in, I thought. As far as driving, there was not a lot of traffic jams, but I was not driving a lot during rush hour, because I had no work to do, just straight up fucking around. Where did I go after that? I think I went to work. Went to LA. Oh, and Major League Soccer. Was that I don't know. I guess I'm not into the world of soccer well enough to know if Major League Soccer counts as something that people care about. Although certainly I do see people caring about it. I don't know how big of a thing it is. Do we have time in America for yet another sport? Although I did read that MLS now has the EMLS FIFA tournament starting this year. So if you like to watch one guy play every position in a soccer game, well, now you can do it in video games. People do care a lot about it out there. I remember meeting the first guy that I met who was into like a local American soccer team, and it was like the Portland Sounders, I think, or the Timbers or something like that. And he was like, he had gotten a tattoo and whatever, and I was just like, and he said it was a football club, and by that I thought it meant it was like a club he belonged to that they played soccer in and that they were really into. I didn't realize that it was about like the Portland Sounders FC football club, that's what they call their teams, and the weird European style, the language they use around soccer. Top of the table, all that kind of stuff. And I liked soccer growing up. But once they closed down the New York Cosmos, the Pele soccer team that he was on here when I was a kid, I lost interest. Not that I really had interest, but who didn't love Pele? I mean, he was in that one World War II movie where they played soccer against the Nazis and then they all escaped. Ew. Yeah, that's a weird thing about soccer, Carla, is saying that about the soccer fanaticism where people emulate the English or European model of being a soccer fan, which is like, I like soccer and I'm also kind of an asshole about it. And I've got, I remember going to the Packers bar we used to go to here with Finn. And we went there on like an off day. We wouldn't normally go in the middle of the day. And there was New York Red Bull soccer team, football club, whatever, playing. And they were all like, it was maybe the first year of Red Bull soccer. And the fans already had like chants and songs. And they're like the same type of songs that you hear when you watch European soccer. So it'd be like, Red Bull, Red Bull, Red Bull, whatever. Some sort of like New York-centered football or soccer chant. And a lot of like, Aussie, Aussie, oi. Like, kind of clearly not Aussie, Aussie, oi, because that's Australian. But like, that's sort of like, we've got to chant. Let's all chant the same thing together. It's about our team that we like. And I thought, this feels forced. But that could just be my reticence to join. And fear of joining the wrong thing, as I don't want to be scorned. But the idea that people are like, oh, you're wearing New Jersey Football Club colors? Boo! We should have a fight. I'm going to give you shit about that. If there's one thing I need less in my life, it's people giving me shit about things that don't matter. Unless it's about, my love of FUBU. I wear only FUBU clothing. And if people give me shit about it, there's going to be a problem. Hello, Warren Wood. Are you in Japan? I think that you might be calling in or watching from Japan super early in the morning. But that's just a guess. But Warren Wood is someone I went to high school with, who lives in Japan, manages a restaurant. I believe you manage a restaurant. Well, hello from New York City to Japan. I hope that you are doing well, sir. Maybe another time I can get you to call in. We can chat, since I've never been able to arrange a hangout with you, similar to my trouble with my friend Andy D, who is also watching, that FUBU for life, man. Damon Johns, the guy's a genius. For us, by us, you know what I'm saying? But so Warren, the last time I saw Warren in person, the second to last time was when I just happened to take my wife and her friend to his family's restaurant on Central Park South, and he just happened to be coming out, and I was just like, oh shit, and it was like an impromptu reunion, and we said hello and whatever, and then he treated us to a fantastic dinner, and then the next time I saw him was just by accident in the street in Soho, and every time there was always some kind of complication, and we just could not get back together, like a wall in the building that his dad's restaurant fell in or whatever, and then he moved to Japan. So we'll have to have a reunion, a mini reunion on Facebook Live at some point, because it's the easiest way to do it, really. And Megan Sinclair has joined the call here in the waning moments of the video. Hello, Megan. Nice to see you. I'm going to be out in LA in February again, so I'll give you a heads up. Yeah, you were with your family, Warren. I remember seeing you there, and I was like, hey, what's up? We should hang out. You're a busy man, and I understand. But yeah, I do enjoy seeing your posting about your adventures in Japan, the gross live food that you eat there. There's no getting around it. It is gross. The live food, the squirming food. You know what, Billy Heenahan? I agree with you. I think I should go on Shark Tank and just sell Damon John sponsoring me on Sit in the Car. An early imaginary sponsor of the show was the Burger King down in Fulton Mall. I have not approached them about supplying the car with an endless supply of chicken fingers. Or chicken fries. I apologize to the branding people over at Burger King. But I'm open, you know? I've got a steady stream of it from anywhere from none to 10 viewers, depending on what's happening in the car and who is available to watch videos on Facebook while they are still at work for the most part, or in different time zones. Well, I'm glad that you have trouble. You think that's the worst Burger King ever? It is a pretty ghetto Burger King, especially the fact that they built a, the Shake Shack is on the same triangle of New York property. The Shake Shack probably does, Burger King's entire month of business in one afternoon's rush, but they're hanging in there. You got it. When I was a kid, I preferred Burger King. I've always had a thing for the underdog. I preferred Burger King over McDonald's as a child. Now, the flame broil thing. My love of Burger King died when I found out that Herb was a communist. But that Burger King is an unbelievable shithole. You could be one. Okay, Billy, you said you could be on the one person line in that Burger King and not see your food for half an hour. Now, that's clearly a staff issue. Like, the people who work there don't care, and that could be the Burger King's problem. Like, he needs to motivate his troops. Instead of spending all that money making weird commercials to get with the young cool kids. They could, make a good product. That's probably one franchise that should go away. But what would replace it? Some other gross expanding franchise. I mean, even Subway's having problems these days. Anyway, on that fantastic financial note, put on my dome piece, grab my book. That's right, I'm a reader. I'm going to sign out because it's time to get it back in the house before I have to go to physical therapy for my elbow. I heard it lifting weights. I'm a man. Oh, the Subway in Montague closed. That's not a surprise. Subway's having problems. I was reading they're closing a lot of the franchisees because of competition from other franchises, as well as unpopular deals that Subway forces the franchisees to take. Like the $5 footlong apparently is a big money loser, and they've never really recovered from their inedible foam in the bread scandal that happened a few years ago. Plus, you got Jared paying underage prostitutes, foam prostitutes. I'm not sure which one really hurt the bottom line at Subway more, but I mean, similarly, Chipotle never recovered from its salmonella thing, and then not having carnitas for a year because they couldn't source their pork ethically. So all the franchises are taking a hit. I don't know what's going on at Quiznos. I don't want to know. I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole of fast food futures. But keep your eye out on them. Short Arby's. Go big on Carl's Jr. I don't know. Anyway, have a fantastic rest of your evening. And I'll see you on the flippy flop, my friends. That's right. New York City out. Yeehaw!